American Badger football podcast on the Believe Podcast Network, presented by betonline.ag. Once again, I'm Matt Perkins, joined as always by Badger legend, the Hebrew Hammer himself, Matt Bernstein, on a very strange Monday morning fullback with a lot of mixed emotions today, Bernie.
Listen, I'm as shocked, I think, as probably everyone in Badger Nation. I don't think anyone saw this coming. Maybe some people did, but I mean, we didn't.
No, we definitely did. I mean, we talked about with BC last week that like they had made a run at Fickell, but it seemed like it was just going to be, for all intents and purposes, Jimmy's job. So we're going to get into that. We're going to talk about the unfortunate battle for the axe as well here. But before we do, I want to remind you guys that we are presented by betonline.ag. They remain your number one place to wager on all of your favorite sports and events, from NFL to World Cup soccer, NHL, NBA, college football, you name it, they've got it over at betonline.ag. So head on over to the website or use your mobile device to sign up today and receive a 50% welcome bonus on your first deposit with our promo code BELIEVE. That's BLEAV. Head on over to the website, betonline.ag. Bet online, where the game starts. Bern, we're going to start quickly with a little Monday morning fullback action here. Quickly, we have to talk about the Minnesota game, because that...
Dude, hold on. Dude, how wild it was yesterday?
Sunday?
I can't even get over it. I'm just shocked. All right, you want to talk Minnesota?
I want to talk Minnesota for like game. 2 minutes. 2 minutes.
Okay.
2 minutes.
Let's do it.
It was ugly as hell. It was
ugly
as hell. And the secondary getting torched by a redshirt freshman quarterback who came in completing 47% of his passes for 1 touchdown and 4 interceptions coming into the game was embarrassing. And that was one of the more disheartening losses that I've seen. It's not like the guys weren't playing hard. The special teams were actually half decent for once. The special teams didn't make any mistakes. Let's just leave it at that. But anemic offense again.
But we've been talking about this all year.
I know.
The offense has been terrible. And, I think a lot of people are like, well, this is Jimmy's fault.
No, the offense is not Jimmy. The offense is 0% Coach Leonhard's fault. He was dealt a hand of, he didn't pick the OC. He didn't, he has no say in the players on the offense.
He did not recruit a quarterback to compete. He didn't recruit the O-line. Listen, the best thing that they probably did on offense was sit Braylon Allen because he was so dinged up. Mm-hmm. And you know what? I guarantee he wanted to play. And I bet you Jimmy was there like, listen, dude, we have a bowl game and you're important to us. I find it, listen, he could have, the defense, we lost our 2 best guys last year. We lost Sanborn, who just honestly looked amazing against the Jets. Nobody probably watched that game. He looked amazing. He was all over the field. He can't be stopped. And Leo Chenal. You lose your 2 best inside backs. Minnesota runs the ball. Everyone's been running the ball on us if Keanu Benton doesn't make a play.
So I will say they bowed up in the second half against the run, but the fact that they got picked apart by the pass, safety play was terrible.
But
safety play was terrible. And
but they haven't been great.
No, they haven't been great.
We can't say our secondary was always the question, right? It was the beginning when we came on at the beginning of the year saying, what's our biggest question? It was always the secondary and the O-line and Graham Mertz, which now we have answers to. If you really want to, I hate to do this, but we needed somebody else to compete against Graham. We didn't go out and get that guy. That's not Jimmy. That's Coach Chris. He put all his eggs in that basket, and it got him fired.
And it got him fired because he effectively chose Graham over Cone 2 years ago.
Right. There's a lot of potential, what happened.
Well, everyone online is going back to the Anthony Lottie dropped punt in the Rose Bowl. And you're right. If they go on to win that Rose Bowl, this is a completely different narrative, I'm sure. So
I still think it happens at some point, but I think it doesn't happen the way, as un-Wisconsin. Yes.
And the
game is disappointing. The O-line is still disappointing.
Yeah. Let's move on to talking about the bigger things. I thought Isaac Grenda was great. I thought Isaac Grenda was fantastic.
Yeah, he was great too. Yep.
I think he proved that he is someone who actually deserves to be in every down.
We have to talk about this though. Graham Mertz came out of the game. I didn't see what happened. Was it an ankle injury?
I couldn't tell. It was lower body.
We've watched dudes, and I'm not saying he should go in injured, but there's 20 seconds left. And literally, we're going to put Chase Wolfen, who actually I thought threw some good balls.
There was one of them that definitely should have been picked, but
the dude's sitting in the.
He's cold. He hasn't thrown a pass all year. It's been forever. You're going to
throw him in at the end of the game to win? It's bananas to me. So I don't know what happened. Obviously,
I know what happened. They got to the 5-yard line and they got 20 yards of offensive line penalties.
That I understand. That I get. What I'm saying is, which everyone is blaming Jimmy on. What can Jimmy do in 6 weeks to change that? He's not he's the head coach. I get it. Everything falls to him. True. But the offense coordinator, and this is it. Listen, when we would jump off sides, there was huge punishment outside. Then it becomes a culture of do not make a mistake. Jimmy can't. What did he do in 6 weeks? He can't put a culture onto the team. That's what I think is the most unfair. Is you gave Jimmy 6 weeks and you didn't tell him like he has to win these games. We set him up and then you just pulled the rug out. And I think you stabbed him in his back and a lot of other Badgers because you basically told him he was the guy. And these guys played hard. They played hard for him, and they changed a lot about the way they went about business. And I think with Jimmy, we would have beat Illinois. So sadly, listen, I have to preface where we're going with this because I like the hire of Fickell. If Jimmy wasn't there, like if Jimmy wasn't in the same category, I think Fickell's a great hire for us. I think he's proven he's done. He went to Cincinnati and did it there. He knows the Big Ten, but we had Jimmy. We didn't need to do this. Like that's what I believe. So if I take Jimmy out of the equation, I think it's a great hire. The problem is it's hard to do that because Jimmy's in the equation and you gave him 6 games to prove his worth with a team that Coach Chris put together. Listen, we could talk about the defense being terrible in that game, but overall they were a good, solid defense. I mean, he lost guys. Our DBs couldn't stop a nosebleed. Allie hates that I use dad bod jokes. But that's, the defense was still very competitive. The offense pretty much wasn't, though.
The offense didn't do anything. And
no, but I'm saying overall,
that's not on Jimmy. But at the end of the day, that's not on
right. And you didn't give him an opportunity to bring in guys and change the culture and do anything he wanted to do. In 6 weeks, you can't do that.
It's impossible.
You're in the season. You're trying to get ready for the next week. It's not who's going to coach next year and are people going to jump off sides. This wasn't who was it? Beach went in, wasn't he at the left tackle and he jumped off sides twice?
Yeah,
and he only played a couple plays in the game. Like we don't got guys. The rotation we talked about with Calhoun, the rotation hurts because you don't have guys who are set in this position to play and be ready to play. And so you're going to say it's all Jimmy's fault, and Jimmy would say it's all on him. Because he's the head coach and he knows the right things to do. So it's just obviously you can say I'm very frustrated because I think you set up a dude who has been your loyalist person to take this job and to give him an opportunity to prove that he can do it. You didn't give him 1 year. You give him 6 weeks and no bowl game practice. You didn't give him anything. You can't get a new quarterback. You can't start. Who are you going to start? Everyone's like, Miles Burkett. No, I don't think you can. You can't just put him in. You're going to kill him. Look at the Jets. You put somebody in who's not ready to play yet. Guess what happens? Their whole confidence is destroyed, and it takes years to get back. If you even look at Geno Smith, it took him 10 years to play well in Seattle, and the Jets killed him. That's not what we want to do to our kids.
No, absolutely
and I think he understands that. And so I see a lot. I've read a lot on Twitter because it's very interesting. And listen, people are pretty much split down the middle. Some people are very happy about it, and some people are not happy about it. Do you think Jimmy could take Graham Mertz out? What's he going to do? That he's shooting him. That he's hamstringing himself big time to not have a guy who at least has played the game. You're going to put in Chase Wolf or Miles Burkett. I think those are mistakes.
I think those are absolute mistakes. And to me, this entire process, my frustration is not with the result, but is with the process. because there felt like there was no transparency. And I know that the administration can't go out and be like, we have interviewed Jim Leonhard and Matt Rule and Luke Fickell for the bubble. They can't do that. But it felt like because of all the no news, like nothing being stated, that it was going to be Jim's job at the end of the day.
How many reporters did we talk to?
So many.
I was talking to him on Sunday morning saying, they're all saying Jimmy's next. He's going to get the job today.
Yeah,
it was such a quick turnaround.
Signing they were hammering out the details of the contract Saturday night.
And supposedly it wasn't based off of winning or losing against Minnesota. I find that to be hard to believe.
I find that to be hard to believe too. I also happen to believe that if they beat Iowa,
he's got the job.
He's got the job. If they beat Minnesota, I think they have the job. And that is a lack of leadership right at the top.
But to me, that's crazy.
Yeah.
That's crazy. You're using dudes that half the team is, probably more than half, was not recruited by Jimmy. And he wasn't the head coach when you guys got these dudes. I don't know. To me, all that's, I hear you. It's very bizarre.
It's very bizarre. The frustrations with the process, and I feel incredibly bad for the Nick Herbigs, Keanu Bentons of the world who have given sort of their heart and soul to the team and have been very vocal about their support and love for Jim Leonhard. Now, obviously, Chris McIntosh has paid the big bucks to make these decisions. I don't love the way he went about it, but there's nothing that I can do, obviously, to change the situation. It's not the move that I would have made, but it is a big swing. And part of me is going to play armchair psychologist and say, this is Chris McIntosh saying, I'm the sheriff in town. I'm the big boy. And Jim Leonhard is the hire that everyone expected me to make and sort of everyone's pushing to make. But no, this is my organization. And,
But he's, okay, listen, I really like Mac, but he did two huge things in the span of 7 weeks.
Yep.
That,
they feel un-Badger-like.
Big decisions.
They feel un-Badger-like.
Well, and maybe it's more, he's like, maybe he was, brought in to be the axe that people think's needed. I don't know. It does seem very businesslike and not very Wisconsin way. I would say that I read online that people are like, oh, Jimmy's the safe bet. But Jimmy was not a safe bet. He was the guy that they've been grooming to be there. Mm-hmm. And Jimmy has a plan. Like he has a whole vision and path that we just didn't let him do. Listen, I am not arguing that Fickell isn't a good hire. I'm just arguing that we had Jimmy Leonhard and we didn't give him an opportunity. And Jimmy unites everybody. He unites Wisconsin. He unites the alumni. You split alumni. People are like, hey, it's great. And people are like, this is terrible. So you're all over the board. Listen, for the program, if Jimmy's not there, I love this hire. I'm ecstatic. Like, let's just say,
right?
Matt P., if you take Jimmy Leonhard completely out of the situation, I'm like, this is great. We're waking up Monday. We're like, who cares about the Axe? We're never going to lose it again. We got Fickell. It's awesome. He's proven. He's done it. We're excited. He's going to recruit Ohio. He is a leader. But now I'm excited. However, we let's get to the real reality of it. We have Jimmy Leonhard. I'm more than excited for the last 6 weeks, 7 weeks of the potential that he takes over and does what he wants, implements what he wants. Dude, this guy's a proven winner. The day he was born, he didn't win yesterday, but he's been a proven individual that has had success in every level, and he's coached success on this level, and he's not a safe bet. He's the one that we could have taken and would have done a crazy amount of new things. We just took someone now that is going to come in and literally can do whatever they want because they have no allegiance to people and no allegiance to this university. I don't think that's a bad thing. I think for people's jobs, it's a bad thing. I think for our kids right now, it might be a bad thing. I'm nervous because this is a whole new age of college football where, you don't know Herbig, first of all, people are talking a lot of trash. These dudes are like 19 and 20 years old.
I know, right?
Like, I would say just relax on Twitter and all these places. But you know what? You got these guys who came here to play for Jimmy Leonhard, or they have been playing for Jimmy, or I don't know, they came for whoever they came for, or whatever reasons they came for. And you're going to say that Jimmy's going to leave. Now, who knows what's going to happen? I would be so happy if he stayed as D coordinator.
I mean,
that
would take a level of humility that I don't have. Like, for sure, I would be F you, F everybody. Like, I'm flipping the double birds and saying,
but Jimmy's not like that.
No, he's not. I'm saying I am. So
I know, me too. I'd be like,
because I'm way more emotional than.
Well, we've been talking about it. I don't know how it's been handled from the way that it's perceived online. Correct me if I'm wrong. Sunday morning, Jimmy was the head coach.
Yep.
Like, he was about to be.
Yep.
Every reporter, I was DMing, texting, he's in. These guys are not like, schlubs that don't know what's happening. These guys are 7 a.m. texting me saying, this is happening today. That's nuts. Then it didn't happen. So all I can say is, I don't know the way it went about happening or changing. But if Jimmy feels slighted, if it wasn't open and I don't know, like a two-way street of communication, if it wasn't transparent, I could see somebody. It doesn't have to be. Jimmy's a great dude.
Yeah. He's
better than you and me. But if you're not transparent and you're not giving me a good reason, and we're not having a conversation about it, you're just saying, I like this person and I'm taking him. Then I could see how Jimmy or an individual can be upset about it. And if that's if that's what's happening, I don't know. But if that's, we're speculating here, but if that's what happened, why would Jimmy come back? I mean, I would love for him to come back. Listen, this dude Fickell did it. He did it. He took a step back.
He did it. And that's the, that's the template. But hold on.
It's the template. That's right.
So the elephant in the room with Fickell is Ohio State, especially because Ohio State people are getting upset. They think Ryan Day is not the guy. The dude's gone 12-1 last year, 11-1 this year, and they don't think that's good enough. Whatever. It is what it is. Fickell has more ties to Ohio State than any of us can count. And if I am a player in the locker room, if I'm Chris McIntosh, if I'm a reporter at the news conference today that's going down at 4 Central-ish, my first question is, will you leave for the Ohio State job? Yes or no? Like, right now. That's the first thing you have. I feel like that's something
you have to answer that question.
I feel like you have to press him on it, though. You have at the beginning.
You know what the answer is?
Do I know what the answer is? No. I think the answer is he would leave, which is a scary proposition for Chris McIntosh.
He's 100% leaving. And then Chris McIntosh is on the hot seat because he
hitched his train. He has hitched his train to Luke Fickell.
He's Coach Kristen Graham-Mertz. He's done it. If this guy in 2 years or 3 years or even 1 year is like, listen, Ohio State's calling and I'm going, I don't see a way that he survives that. And I like McIntosh, but I don't see a way that you can survive whatever we're going to call what happened to Jimmy. I don't know. Listen, dude, I don't know how to be kind about it, but if you stabbed him in the back, and then you alienated to right now, people are very upset about this.
Yes, especially current players, former players, guys who played with Jimmy, people who understand Jim's loyalty to the program and what he's done and what he means. It is, the Badger on Badger crime here, effectively, right? Chris McIntosh is a Badger too, so we can't forget,
right.
And yes, part of the criticism of the Wisconsin program from myself and many others included is that it is a little bit too incestuous. There is not enough outside blood to come in and bring new ideas. Hold on, Bern. I know what you're about to say. That is,
keep going.
But part of the reason it's that way is because that has always been the quote unquote Wisconsin way. And part of what attracts people and recruits to the program traditionally has been this idea of the Wisconsin way, that they do things a little bit differently in Madison. It's more than just winning and losing. It is the family atmosphere. Every single recruit who comes here says family, 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 family. And that's what it feels like to be part of the Badger family. You talk about the Badger Brotherhood. This is a very un-Badger-like thing to do. It's a very un-Wisconsin family thing to do. And it, to me, portends something bigger about the athletic department and where they are going and what matters now.
You're talking about new blood. Who hired all these people? It wasn't Jimmy.
No, it wasn't.
Who hired him? Coach Chris.
Yes.
You were talking about an old regime.
Yes.
And then who actually allowed these people to get hired? It's not, like Coach Chris doesn't just do what he wants. There's a pecking order. Who sits above him?
Barry.
So Chris McIntosh,
for a long time it was Barry. For a lot of the hires, it was Barry. For a lot of the hires, it was Barry.
Not for all of them.
Not for all of them, but for a lot of them.
I think that was what is a schism. I'm using a lot of good words. I went to Wisconsin. It's crazy.
I mean,
but that kind
of who would have guessed the two of us went to one of the elite public institutions in the country?
It's amazing.
Not if you talk to us in real life.
No. If you saw me at the bar, I look like I don't know. I went to Michigan. Just kidding. You got me sidetracked.
It could be worse. You could have gone to Ohio State.
I guess it could be. Listen, so here's the thing. I think Fickell leaves if he's offered that job. Yeah. I don't see why so for me, that's his end game, right? Yeah. Like there's for Fickell, he's happy about that. For Jimmy, this was his end game. Like and you didn't give him an opportunity to mold the program the way he wanted to. Jimmy, to me, is not a safe bet. I think offensively, almost everyone's gone. And he played with some of those. He played with Al Johnson. I don't know who's safe. I think there are people on the defensive side who aren't safe. Jimmy can work with people, but when you're the head coach and you don't need to work with that person anymore, you can cut ties. And I think Jimmy was not given the ability. He wasn't given an offseason. He wasn't given a couple of weeks to even sit down and think about it. He had a bye week, and we know he was calling people who we thought would be great in different positions.
Yep.
And we know he was reaching out, and we know the plan that was kind of
taking shape.
It was taking shape slowly. What can you do in season? Literally nothing.
Well, and on top of that, you only have 24 hours in a day, and you got to sleep at least 5, right?
And he wasn't.
He wasn't. He's probably sleeping 3. But so much of that's dedicated to planning game plans and getting the team ready that you can't. Expecting him to have this big grand vision. Now, obviously, Luke Fickell has to do the same thing when he presents his vision for the program, but
totally. But he has an off season.
Yeah,
he has an off season to change a lot. In the off season, you're not coaching, you're not watching film, you're not preparing for each Saturday.
Mm-hmm.
You literally are letting the strength and conditioning coaches work the guys. You're coming up with a vision of the program. And you're implementing that, you have time to sit in your office and think about things. And we just didn't let Jimmy do that. Now, on the Fickell side, he's done this before. So he'll have a plan. He'll have some type of curriculum. He'll have something in his head that says, here's what I got to do. I got to really take a look at X, Y, and Z. This offense is terrible. There's no special teams coach. Jimmy's the only proven dude, and Bobby Abrams, some of the other guys who I actually think, would be great to keep around. However, it doesn't mean they want to stay, and it doesn't mean that he's going to do it. And also, it doesn't mean that he's going to listen to Couch Potato like me. Ross Kalaji should stay.
Yes.
I think that dude has done a great job with the D-line. What says that he wants to? I don't know. I don't know these things.
Yeah.
And I don't know what Fickell could be like. Listen, you guys have been trending down, and it's hit rock bottom. I mean, I don't think we're at rock bottom.
No, not on the defensive side of the ball, but we already know that Fickell's bringing his own strength and conditioning staff. He's already said that.
Has he?
Yep. He is bringing the two people who lead his recruiting department, which is huge.
Well, that to me is normal. So let's take that with a grain of salt. Mickey Turner, who was there, I think was thrust into this position that he might not have been suited for, but also might not want it. I mean, He was a great tight ends coach. If you look back, we've had great tight ends.
He was a much better tight ends coach than Herring was.
I totally agree. Imagine what he could have done with these guys who are athletic and good, catchers.
Like Cundiff and Rucci. I think Cundiff and Rucci are both very good players. And
but imagine being coached by Mickey.
Exactly. Well, that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. They would have been even better.
Right.
They would have been.
So, like,
you see an offense, I'd be willing to bet that is going to pass to them more and score more because they are.
I just don't want these dudes to be just fired and left on the street.
I know.
But listen, this is the business of college sports.
Yes, and that's sort of where we have to finish off today.
Right. Everyone on Twitter is demanding that we win today.
Yes.
And no one has the vision to say, you have to give people a year or two. Right? Mm-hmm. You have to. So people saw Jimmy and go, he lost 3 games. Mm-hmm. We lost the Axe. That was, I almost let it go. Sorry, Carrie. That was given at the beginning. Like if we started talking after Illinois, do you think we would have said we're going to win the Axe? I mean, I would have said it, but am I truly believing that? I don't think so. With Jimmy, I thought we had a chance. And we did. We actually had a chance.
Yes.
And then we screwed it up because we just don't have the dudes. Mm-hmm. And we just don't have the guys in the right places, and they don't believe in themselves as much as they will. But we're not giving Jimmy the shot, and literally it hurts. It hurts my feelings. It hurts my love. I mean, listen, I'm a huge Badger fan. I'm not going to be. But if I'm Fickell, I'm calling up Jimmy Leonhard within 2 seconds and saying, Jimmy, I'm sorry the way that this turned out. I'm so excited to be here, and I need you. What do I need to do to get you to stay here? Do you need more money? Do you want more anything? X, Y, and Z. You tell me what you need, and I will see if I can make that work.
I mean, in a dream world, in a dream Badger scenario, he is defensive coordinator and associate head coach, right? Like, but I mean, I think we all want to see what Jimmy could do leading the program.
Well, listen, I 100% agree. You know what though? If you take a step back, which it's impossible to do, really. Like I can do it because I'm not there. You can learn from this guy, and if you don't want to be a Wisconsin Badger, like you don't want to be the head coach as like Jimmy. If he's like, listen, I'll do another year or two under you, his stock will rise. He's going to learn from Fickell on how to come into a place and change, do X, Y, and Z. And if he doesn't agree with it, that's even better. He can take stuff and say, I don't want to do this.
Yeah, he
can take the good and leave the bad. But it's interesting because you have a lot of ex-players in a lot of these positions, Mickey Turner as the head of recruitment. He's obviously not going to be that anymore.
No.
So the question is he kept at all on staff? Yeah. Is Ross kept? Like some guys that I think should be kept. I don't know if anyone is around next year. I think
it's all speculation at this point, so I'm not going to do that. It sounds like he's bringing Mike. It sounds though like there's a good chance he brings Mike Tressel, who is his defensive coordinator from Cincinnati. And if that's the case, then I don't really know, sort of where you go from
there. What, Mac gave him the keys to the program, and he can literally do what he wants and implement things. And at this point, like what we've said before, Mac is tied to this guy now, and whatever he wants to do, you can't really say no to things.
No.
It's just, listen, I don't think it's a bad hire, right? Like I actually think he's going to be great for the program, but I agree. I think that you had a guy who was going to be great. And even if Jimmy didn't do well after, let's say 2 or 3 years, which I don't believe could happen, there could be other coaches out there. Like we didn't need to jump at, it's not like he's a Lou Holtz. Like, come on. But I also don't know, selfishly, what does this do when I show up at the stadium? I don't know any of these dudes, right? Like, what does it do when Anthony Davis or Brian Calhoun or any of these dudes, Lee Evans, Jeff Mack, like you show up, like, I guess, we'll have to make friends with everyone and try to figure out like who's who. I'm okay with that. Like, I didn't know all the coaches, but I knew a lot of them.
Yeah. And there will still be guys like, it's not like David Gilreath is going to lose his job, right? Because that's he's still in the athletic department in the administration.
He's gone, actually.
Is he really?
Gone. His wife got a job in California and he moved.
Oh, good for him. Well, in that case, I didn't know that. So congratulations to the Gilreath family. And
he's pumped. Well,
he's pumped. Good for them. But you know what I mean? Positions like that where there are former Badgers. Those positions won't change.
They're already having a get to know the coach on Monday.
Yeah,
I think that's great. That's great. Who can come at 3:00 on a Monday, like today, and it happened. I got the email yesterday. I can't show up. I'm in New York. But I think they'll have other things. I think it'll be fun to if we're coming from like an alumni perspective, to interact. Like I'm not going to turn my back on the team and the program.
No.
But I am a little disappointed with the way that things were handled. If I'm sitting in the meeting room, literally this is the third coach to come in
8 weeks.
I could be excited. I could be not excited. Whatever your emotions are, it's probably all of them. And you're a 20-year-old kid your life is uncertain. My life was uncertain when Coach Alvarez was thinking about Miami, but I wasn't sitting in the meeting room. Like I would have been fresh there. Like, so it held it. There was something about it over me, like I felt a little stress about it, but like literally I didn't stress that much. These kids got a lot to think about and it's a lot to go over. And you thought Jimmy was the guy and everything you're hearing is that's what's happening. And he was going to implement a lot of new. I don't think Fickell's not going to do anything. I think he's going to come and try to get our guys the best prepared they can be. It just sucks that we literally couldn't give Jimmy a chance when I think he deserved it. And if you think he doesn't deserve it because he's the mold, the Wisconsin mold, I think that's crazy talk to me. We gave him no chance. And if you think he could fire people and hire people in 6 weeks as an interim head coach, there's no chance of that happening.
No, absolutely not. You wouldn't even get it approved. Yes. Go for it.
Who coaches the bowl game?
My guess, if I'm making a wild guess and speculation, it's Bobby April.
Interesting. Okay. Well, I was going to say maybe Al Johnson because he's had a head coaching experience. But
that's true. I didn't think about that. Yeah, I mean that would.
I think sense. It doesn't matter at this point. I don't think it matters. I would love for it to be Jim. I mean, I would love for him to go out.
You know what? Here's what I think. I think it's going to be Barry.
You know what? So you bring up an interesting. I read somewhere on Twitter, and people find all this stuff out. If this is true, Jimmy didn't get a raise to be the head coach, right?
I don't know about that.
So I
haven't read anything about that. I know that when he became interim, he didn't move offices. He stayed in the assistant coach office.
I don't know if he got a pay increase or not.
I don't know how that works.
So I don't know. But what I read is he didn't. And what I did read was every time Barry came back and coached, he got a bonus. So if that's true, that's so interesting. When people, I don't know if that's true. That says a lot about Jimmy if that's true, right? Like, you're not fighting. It's not about money. Mm-hmm. It's about the program and how much he loved it. I'm interested. Listen, I could see that we don't go to a bowl game. Like I could see a lot of potential speculatory, maybe the guys are like, we just don't want to do it. I would say, please go to the bowl game.
Yes. Well, like it's fun. Just for the practices alone.
Yeah. I mean, a lot of these guys might not be there. I would say go enjoy it. Try it. Win the game. Let everyone know that this is for Jimmy and whoever's coaching the interim to the interim. I mean, I don't even know what that means. That's their speech will be like, listen, no one knows what this room looks like tomorrow. All we have is right now. Come together, enjoy it. And let's do this for Jimmy. Do it for Coach Chris.
Do it for yourself.
Do it for us. Do it for everyone in here. Because this is all we got.
Yep.
I don't know, man. It's like maddening and I'm interested to see what happens at the press conference. I don't think there'll be anything. No one. What can you do? You can't push back on a lot of these things. He's not going to answer your questions, and he'll never pick on you to ask a question again. And then I think Fickell's going to say all the right things.
Of course he is. Of course he's polished. He's very polished. Of course he's going to say the right thing.
Listen, I'm not talking smack about him.
No,
this is a job.
Not
opening.
for 1 second. Like no one. Yeah. I have not come across a single person who has a criticism of Fickell as a coach.
Right. I'm not like a piece of me is for this.
A piece.
A piece.
Because if you had told me
reality
in August, the Badgers would go 6-6, Paul Chris would be fired, and Luke Fickell would become the head coach, I'd be like,
Jimmy
that makes
almost
sense.
Guaranteed
that makes
the job.
sense.
And see, that's what it is. If we did the Wisconsin way and played it out,
yes,
and we're like, Coach Chris, this season was a disaster, and we're not going to bring you back.
Mm-hmm.
And we hired Fickell, but didn't give Jimmy this opportunity.
Yeah, didn't give him 7 weeks. If Coach Chris had been fired after week 10 or week 11, right? And Jimmy has like 2 weeks. Then it's like, well, yeah, he didn't get a shot, but like, it's 2 weeks. We knew we were going to do a national search, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Instead, you strung him and the team along. And that is the problem. It's the process, not the result. The problem is the process. The problem is not the result. And I love the way John McNamara put it. Wisconsin fumbled the process into the end zone and scored a touchdown.
Listen, and that I agree with, right? I think that there was no way that expectations were laid out there to say if you go 3-3, you don't get this job.
Mm-hmm.
If you do X, Y, and Z, you get it. There's no way that and we weren't behind closed doors. I watched that video you sent me where who knows what happened between Coach Chris and Mac, and McIntosh seems to be able to cut ties quick and make some moves. Listen, I'm not against it. I'm not against. Listen, it's time to. I want to win. I want to win a national championship. I want to win.
That's what we're here for. I
want to do this. But I do think Jimmy could have done it.
Yeah, so do I.
But I'm excited. Listen, I'm not talking smack about this guy. I'm talking the process to me and what Wisconsin promised Jimmy, and to not have. I think the only one who would have gotten the job is this guy. Is Fickell. If anyone else was like, "Hey, I want it," I think Jimmy's the guy.
Yeah.
I think Mac was like, "This is the dude, and if he wants it, we're taking him."
Yeah. I'm curious to see.
Listen, you've already seen people decommit. These guys not coming in. He's not having an easy road, dude. Now, you got to compete with Ohio State and Michigan, and now Minnesota and all these teams that beat us and are trending up. You have to go against them in recruiting.
Yeah.
Right. And we just got a guy going, and you have to go against Notre Dame, which is annoying to me every day. And that Notre Dame called that dude and was like, Jimmy's not the head coach. You should come in.
Well, he had already gone on a visit after he was committed. Like that everyone sort of kind of knew that was coming.
But that happens all the time.
It happens all the time. That's the thing. Wisconsin is now going to flip a bunch of kids probably from Cincinnati and other schools, and they're going to be more decommits. It's going to be the Wild West between now and the early signing period. And
it'll be interesting for sure.
I can tell you one thing. Clint Cosgrove and I will have all of the recruiting coverage. I cannot wait to hear what happens, because you guys are going to get way more in depth in all these thoughts. Our show this week is going to be absolutely bananas. Listen, Fickell brings a lot of dudes. He's going to bring a lot of guys, and people are going to decommit. There are multiple guys who Wisconsin was after hard that committed to Cincinnati to play for Fickell, including Amari Snowden, who was like one of the top corners on their board, who's I think one of the best corners in the country. So I mean, I think he's going to be great. People say he reminds people of Sauce Gardner, another guy who played for Fickell at Cincinnati. So, we will see there. I think we need to wrap it up because our typical 15 minutes has gone significantly longer today, Bern. But, we have so much to talk about. It's such a crazy time. We'll be back later this week. We've got Travis Beckham. We've got potentially Jeff Petrikis as well to sort of give us the behind the scenes and the play-by-play of how everything went down behind closed doors. So we'll be back later this week. We've got David Moorman next week. We've got Taylor Amon next week. We've got all the coverage coming at you guys for the next couple of weeks. So make sure you stay tuned here. Stay tuned to me and Clint over at Badger Blitz. And I mean, this is literally the wild west. Yeah. From everything we're saying, because the transfer portal is now that you're eligible to do all these, it's nuts. It is going to be interesting. I think a lot of guys will leave. Yes. I think a lot of guys will come. I think people are decommit. I think people are going to decommit from other places and come. I have no idea what's going to happen with the bowl game. I have no idea what's going to happen with practice. Who's the head coach? I hope Jimmy comes out with a statement that gives us some light to some. He will not throw shade on people, I'm pretty sure. But I would like to hear what happens. Yes. And I think that'll come out, and I think we're going to learn a lot about some people, and maybe some people. Well, and I'm sure we will find out. There will be things that you find out what happens that can't be shared with the public, and that's fine. And because we're not here to share Jim's business. That's his to share with the public in a lot of ways. But I just
I'm not sharing. I'm not airing people's.
No. But I want to know. I just want to know. Obviously,
I want to know. Yes. Let's just end here. It's going to be a hard Monday.
It's going to be a tough Monday. But you know what, Byrne, I'm here for you. I'm here to support you during this tough time.
Listen, I still think the program's in good hands now.
Good hands.
It's just the way that they went about it. And you had a guy in Jimmy who I adore dearly, and I think he wanted it. He's a Badger at heart. He was not going to just do the norm.
Yeah.
And I think that's the hardest, cookie to swallow. It's like eating an oatmeal raisin. Who the hell likes oatmeal raisin?
No, there will be
you would.
There will be no oatmeal raisin slander on this show, sir. I love oatmeal raisin cookies. I love oatmeal raisin cookies. God,
okay. You know, like
do you know what can get out of here? Sugar cookies. Sugar cookies can get out of here. Sugar cookies are trash. Those
sugar
get out.
Are just nothing.
You are not welcome here. Maybe with a little bit of frosting.
When you take a cookie and you're like, this is going to be so delicious, this chocolate, I need this right now. And you take a bite and it's an oatmeal raisin, you're like, you know what? This day sucks.
You just never had a good oatmeal raisin then, my friend. I make a mean oatmeal raisin.
Okay, well, it's a hard pill to swallow is what I'm basically getting at. But listen, I'm excited. I think we just need to get past the bowl game. We need to get to 2023.
I'm also really excited to hear. I think Travis is going to meet Coach today in the meet and greet. So I'm excited to see for him to come on and talk with us about just what's that like, what his first impressions are like with that.
Listen, the guy, I think from everything I've seen and watched on TV, this is a great guy. He's a great coach. Listen, I'm happy. It's exciting. I think January 1, I think a lot's going to happen until January 1.
Yep.
And then I think we just got to get past that, let the dust settle. People are going to be raw. I'm raw right now.
Yep.
I think a lot of people will be raw. Let all that emotion kind of vent. Let everyone get it out. And then, let's just watch what this guy can do. Yep. I just wanted it to be Jimmy, but I'm happy for this guy. I'm happy for Fickell. I want it to be Jimmy. To me, we fumbled the ball into the end zone and scored a touchdown.
So, all right, that's where we're going to wrap here today. Until next time, guys. As always, thanks for tuning in to the Bleep
on Cincinnati. On Wisconsin. My bad.
Presented by BetOnline.ag. He's Bernie. I'm Perko. We'll be back later this week. We love you guys.
Hey.
On Wisconsin.
On Wisconsin.